The man regains consciousness in an unfamiliar location, tangled in strange wires. Nearby, a young girl sits unresponsive. He experiences bizarre visions of a bunker and soldiers. He struggles to comprehend how he ended up in such a situation. Unable to convince himself it's just a dream. Gradually, they realize they are on an orbital space station. The scene shifts to 1969, where a secret government lab under the US Department of Defense loses contact with Sarah. Another transmission from the same location puzzles them as they try to identify the sender. Meanwhile, aboard the station, the restless man discovers other captives. One of them, recognizing the girl as Sarah, introduces himself as John and the man as Zach. Sarah, seemingly trapped in a trance, recalls painful memories involving John. Despite revealing his identity as Agent John Brighton, Sarah remains unresponsive. Zach recalls his girlfriend, prompting a reaction from Sarah, who addresses him by an intimate name. Mysterious tentacles restrain them, sapping emotional energy for the ship's survival. The agent explains this vital process, calming the ship temporarily. Concerned for Sarah, John urges her to open a door. Back at the base, scientists discuss the overlapping transmissions from John and Sarah, puzzled by their simultaneous disappearance a decade apart. Meanwhile, in orbit, John attempts to bring Sarah back to awareness, recognizing that the aliens have a purpose for them all, keeping them alive. Another man awakens abruptly, screaming and struggling against the tentacles. Despite John's efforts to calm him, the man Perry remains agitated and defiant, refusing instructions. John warns him of the consequences, but Perry persists until John threatens severe injury or death. Perry gradually calms down and starts recalling his last memories of being in a cell with stomach issues, where he vomited black fluid upon the doctor's command. John recalls feeling similarly ill during their transportation to orbit. Zach skeptically questions John's story, but Perry urges him to look around. Nothing like this exists on Earth. John admits knowledge of government awareness about aliens, though their motives remain a mystery. He discloses his involvement in a defense complex privy to information even beyond the FBI's knowledge. Abductions have been ongoing, with scientists striving to understand the aliens' intentions. At that moment, another woman awakens. Claustrophobic, she struggles to cope with the confined space. John advises her to close her eyes and say her name, but Rhonda remains unsettled. Perry steps in, encouraging her to envision a safe place, which gradually soothes her nerves and relaxes the tentacles. John suggests they find commonalities to decipher the aliens' intentions. Rhonda recalls dropping her daughter off at school and feeling unwell, then sharp pain. Suddenly, another woman named Alex regains consciousness. The men warn her against movement, explaining the consequences. Alex recognizes Zach as a former celebrity from her childhood, mentioning his rock band and bandmates. Zach, surprised, insists he's alive, recounting an incident from 2018 where his fiance supposedly killed him. Perry scoffs, stating it's 2050, shocking Zach, who believes it's 2001. Rhonda arrived from 1997 and John from 1969. The revelation stuns everyone, triggering the tentacles to reactivate, sensing their fear. Rhonda panics, triggering a deadly response from the tentacles. She feels trapped, struggling until suddenly feeling freedom and seeing Sarah, then finding herself in a house, watching snowfall outside with a child sledding. Sarah reminds Rhonda that this place is her safe haven, while the others witness her enveloped by the alien substance. Rhonda sees her grandmother, who warns that her functions will soon cease, urging Sarah away. Rhonda pleads to return to her daughter, but the alien, disguised as her grandmother, smiles. Suddenly, Sarah becomes active. John recalls examining Sarah in a 1969 laboratory using wreckage from the Roswell crash. She accurately describes scenes of screaming people pulled from thin air. Now observing Rhonda's distress, John realizes Sarah can communicate across time. Rhonda calms, but Alex begins to panic, activating the tentacles. John explains the ship feeds on their emotions, fear, and anger, fueling its operations. This revelation reveals the aliens' intent. John recounts his involvement with the team discovering the Roswell wreckage, finding a dead alien, suggesting telepathic ship control without technical or fuel controls. The aliens harness mental energy for propulsion, evident from similar crashes, prompting US UFO research, revealing a town's infection. One of the women was revealed to be pregnant, and after her child's birth, he was sent to a secret research center. This child was Sarah, who was vastly different from ordinary people. Her brain activity was exceptionally high, necessitating new devices. At 12, her telepathy with technical devices emerged, briefly connecting her with the ship, an experience she never disclosed due to its near-fatal consequences. John, deeply attached to her, clashed with leadership over her mistreatment, leading to his removal. Unable to accept sending the child alone, he secretly followed her. From the outset, Sarah was a weapon of Project Ithaca, Special Anomaly Intelligence Agent Sarah. The duration of their presence remains uncertain. Meanwhile, Alex alerts them to the awakening tentacles seizing control. John finds himself in a hospital room confronted by a mutilated woman and a mocking doctor blaming him for the accident caused by his recklessness. Enraged, John triggers a discharge from the tentacles. Perry encounters his daughter but realizes it's an illusion meant to unsettle him. He dismisses the threat, recognizing the aliens would target his ex-wife if they wanted to truly scare him. Perry resigns himself to sleep as the countdown to his end begins. Alex witnesses her mother's murder and her assailant hunting her past self. Sarah intervenes, incapacitating the attacker and saving Alex, triggering a discharge from the ship. John suddenly finds himself in Rhonda's grandmother's house, greeted by an adult Sarah who has created a safe haven for them mentally, knowing the aliens won't search there. Sarah warns that time is running out, sensing the ship's connection strengthening. A biomechanoid controlled by an alien eye. The aliens protect digital life in the Matrix, feeding on human emotions to open portals once enough energy accumulates. Able to exist across time periods, they seek Sarah, but she suddenly disappears. Rhonda's grandmother, speaking for the aliens, reveals they are elderly and tired, wanting to return home. They begin a countdown to John's demise, having observed countless creatures with humans being unremarkable. However, they see potential in John, having watched him for some time. Despite past mistakes, including the loss of his wife and daughter, John seeks redemption, saving Sarah. Observing a teleporter preparing for dispatch, John realizes his errors. Alex awakens to find Sarah, thanking her for the chance to avenge her mother's murderer and rapist. Sarah assures Alex she won't die there. As everyone regains consciousness, John confesses to Sarah that his teleporter malfunctioned, accidentally revealing everything to the aliens who sent him there. 10 years ago, during an experiment, Sarah witnessed Rhonda's death aboard the ship. Zach begins asking questions, triggering a response from the ship. Sarah returns to Rhonda's mental refuge, where her grandmother confirms thousands suffer aboard the ship, including Sarah's infected mother. Sarah finds herself back on the ship with Perry speaking for the aliens, promising death and extinction for humanity. John argues humans are different, prompting temporal shifts mixing past and future. Hearing cries for help, Sarah realizes she can save humanity by sacrificing herself. Conversations repeat as time seems to float until Sarah announces an end as they are coming. John protests, unwilling to leave Sarah, but she insists it's necessary. People awaken in a winter forest as Sarah's voice iterates about humanity's abduction and resilience. Those rescued from the ship smile at a distant city, walking towards it. In space, a vortex opens, revealing dozens of alien ships. The film concludes. Make sure to subscribe Timeless Movies Recaps for more.